Hey everybody, having an unboxing today. This time is the HomTom. HomTom, I don't know how to pronounce this brand. HomTom, I believe. It's a smartphone, but I don't know the name of the phone yet. So we will open this up. I don't think this is the retail packaging. It seems a little bit, like usually when I get phones early, it's like an engineer sample. It'll come in a package like this. So I like this red and black USB-C cable. Reminds me of the OnePlus cable, dash charge cable. You have a charging brick. Yeah, this can't be the retail packaging. I mean, then you have the phone right here. That's it. Oh, I quite like this little sleeve because when I travel, I usually bring 3 or 4 phones with me. So sometimes I put them in my bag and I worry they're gonna get smashed up. So I try to wrap them in like my shirts and underwear and stuff. It's ghetto as hell. So in the future now I can just put it into the sleeve. Yeah, there's enough room for a second phone, I think. So this is another notched iPhone 10 inspired device, I assume. Very similar to the Elephone A4 that I just tested like yesterday. Like same thing with the side fingerprint reader. SIM tray right here. Fingerprint sensor. Hopefully it's a little bit better. The power button, it's on this side though. Even the notch area, it's very similar. Hey everybody, so I played with this phone for about a day and a half now, and yes, that is Jackie Chan's Police Story in the background, one of the top probably 5 or 6 greatest action film ever. I figure I do so many of these phone reviews, you guys are probably bored watching me hold a phone against a wall. I might as well have an awesome movie in the background. So this is the HomTom H10. It sells on GearBest now for $140 US. So as mentioned during the earlier unboxing, this phone, it's very similar to the Elephone A4, which I tested 2 days ago. And to be honest, there's really no reason to get the Elephone A4 over the HomTom H10 because the price difference is only $30 US. So you have $130 or 140 versus 110, and this one's just a lot better. So first of all, the chipset is better. On the chipset here, it's a MediaTek 6755, whereas on the Elephone A4 is a 6739. And also the Elephone A4 only has 3 gigs of RAM, which if you remember my video, it was a little bit laggy. This phone, the HomTom H10, has 4 gigs of RAM, so performance has been a lot better, a lot less lag. So you have and 64 gigs of internal storage versus just 16 gigs of internal storage here. So for $30 difference, this is a much better deal. Now, I do like the build quality of the Elephone A4 a little bit better than the HomTom H10 because one, I like the dual tone design on the back. Also, I really like this circular power button right here on the Elephone A4, whereas on the HomTom H10, it's a little bit more boring. It's just another traditional kind of this long shape power button. Fingerprint reader, it's on the left-hand side, which is a little bit better for me because I'm left-handed, and I find that it's a little bit more accurate too. It's not the fastest, but at least it works. Whereas on the Elephone A4, it wasn't working for me 20% of the time. So, but then other than these minor design parts, and the Elephone device also has a headphone jack, whereas the HomTom phone does not have a headphone jack. So personally, if you're talking about just completely looking at the phone, I like the Elephone A4 a little bit better. And also the Elephone A4 has a little bit cleaner software. Really like this app tray. It looks really nice. And swiping navigation, which I like a lot. So on the HomTom H10, no swiping navigation, and the software, it's a little bit clunkier. There is no app tray, for example. Everything has to go on the front, but it's still stock Android, still 8.1. That's about it though in terms of parts that where the A4 is better. Because if you look at even the notch, the HomTom phone, it's a lot more better designed to complement the notch. So you look on the Elephone A4, you can tell this is like a rushed job, because look at the status bar. It's actually blocked off by the notch. The time right here touches the bezel, and you can't swipe down the middle for notification shade. Whereas on the HomTom H10, you are able to swipe down the middle for the notification shade. You can swipe anywhere from the top of the screen, and you see all the icons fit a lot better. So that means this software has just been HomTom put in a little bit more thought with this software compared to, check this out, man. This movie is crazy. This is like a top 5 or 6 greatest action movie ever, man. If you're interested, you gotta watch this stuff. Like, this is a Hong Kong cinema, so you notice that they shoot everything in wide, single shot. That's because Jackie Chan does all his own stunts. Whereas if you watch modern Hollywood movies now, there's a lot of quick cuts and a lot of close-ups to hide the fact that the actors can't really do action. The only recent exception is Mad Max Fury Road and the recent Mission Impossible 6 Fallout. That movie is awesome. But other than that, I would say 90% of Hollywood action films can't touch 80s and 90s Hong Kong cinema. Anyway, apologies for this little tangent. This is just one of the greatest action movies ever. This scene goes on for 25 minutes and it's just like the greatest freaking action cinema like of all time, like top 5 or 6. Anyway, back to this phone. So as I mentioned, the chipset is a little better and 4 gigs of RAM, so the performance has been pretty good. I was able to play Underground online earlier, and the phone actually handled the game fine. I had to run it on the lowest frame rate, and the phone actually got really hot as I ran around. But I played it for a good 10-15 minutes, and I didn't really see any major lags or freeze or even frame rate drops. So now you go into Instagram, my usual display test. So the display, again, it's like these budget phones, so the display is a little bit muted. The color's a little bit dull, in my opinion. But it still looks pretty good for a $130 display. Like, Instagram story is just so immersive to look at. So you look at the bottom bezel is a little bit large, but it is what it is, right? Everything's been running fine. So you're able to hide the navigation button. You can jump between apps like this. RAM management has been okay so far, 4 gigs of RAM. So no app tray. You do get these software on a little bit of like bloat software, additional software outside of the stock Google. So for example, you have this toolbox, which includes a ruler, picture hanging. These are things that you can get in the App Store yourself, but it's still useful to have, I guess. So I wouldn't, these are extra apps that doesn't come with stock Google, but I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I find these kind of useful, and overall, the phone looks clean. The software doesn't look garish, doesn't look that bad. Everything looks pretty nice. So yeah, I ran this phone through Geekbench too, and the score, obviously, it's quite a bit better than the Elephone A4. So you see 633 single core versus 2573 multi-core. Compared to, okay, right here, this is one of the most iconic scenes in Jackie Chan's career. Compared to the Elephone A4, which only scored a 590 single core and 1649 multi-core. So this phone, it's only $30 cheaper than the HomTom H10, but the HomTom H10 is quite a bit more powerful. You get a lot more storage. You get 1 more gigs of RAM. Alright, sorry, we just gotta watch the scene right now. Sorry, if you're bored by this movie, you want to care about the phone, you can fast forward the video by like 10-15 seconds. Look at this shit. And they play it 3 times. Just so if you're watching a movie theater, you get to watch it 3 times. Look at this movie is ridiculous, man. Okay, anyway, I really apologize for that for people who don't care about movies. So the camera app, it's pretty bare bones again, just like the Elephone A4. A little bit slow, a little bit laggy. The shutter speed is not that fast. And there's also this weird thing where when you touch the fingerprint sensor, you can take a picture, and there's no way to turn it off. So a lot of times, earlier when I was using the phone, I'm holding it, I keep accidentally taking pictures because it's quite easy to touch this side of the phone when you're holding it, right? Okay, so we'll look at some photos really quick. As usual, don't expect much. So this is a low light photo. Again, it's a little bit blurry. I would say camera's a little bit better than the Elephone A4, which was consistently blurry. Like, this one, not too bad for a budget device. Like nighttime video is just, you can't use this for anything other than just to get something serviceable. Pretty decent details. So nighttime shots completely overexpose all the lights. So this camera, you can't really expect much out of a $130 phone. What I do think is you are able to game on this. The screen looks pretty good. You can run apps on this without lag or stuff, unlike the Elephone A4. Did I mention that this phone has face unlock too? So I'll show you really quick. Yeah, so face unlock works. So you have face unlock and you have a fingerprint reader that works. So now let's do a quick audio test. Okay, so right now we're at 50% volume. This speaker is pretty weak. I just bumped up to 60% because the speaker is very soft. So easily muffled. Let's go up to 100%. Yeah, so speaker is not that great. Doesn't get that loud. Sound is very flat, but damn, this video looks good. Okay. Anyway, yeah, my girlfriend's not here, man, so she can't get mad at me over this. Anyway, this is the HomTom H10. If you look at the back, I kind of like this design too. It's a little bit like the Honor 10 back without the gradient color scheme. I still overall like the build quality of this a little bit better, but pretty decent phone for $140. This is the HomTom H10. Thanks for watching.